So the first bit of news here, we had the announcement and then the showing of a Nintendo Direct this week. It happened on April 12th, the day before recording this. A lot of people went into this Direct anticipating that we were going to get the Splatoon 2 and ARMS release dates. And I think if that's all you were expecting, you were met evenly as far as expectations and what the Direct was. So basically, ARMS is coming out June 16th. Splatoon is coming out July 21st. We got release dates for both of those big games for Switch. There was also a couple of smaller games announced and a lot of like ports and stuff from Ubisoft and stuff like that aren't really crazy to talk about. I think the biggest, Payday 2 as well. I think the biggest thing here that the reason I was so happy with this Direct is that they basically talked about all the filler stuff. Like, I really hope that this Direct and them showing all of this stuff that really, a lot of it wasn't really important outside of like the new Amiibo announcements with Cloud and Bayonetta and the 3 new Link ones, that they can focus more on the bigger stuff at E3, right? I think this was getting rid of like, hey, we need to announce all this 3DS stuff so people know this stuff is coming, and here's all of this stuff, and push it out and talk about it. So that way at E3 can be a little bit more focused. And for me, going into this Direct, we could talk about this real quick, roundtable. My expectations were we're going to get Splatoon 2 release date, we're going to get ARMS. There's probably not going to be anything else crazy. And that's exactly what it was. So I was fine with the Direct. It didn't disappoint me at all or anything because I didn't really expect anything. But seeing all of these smaller announcements, I was like, okay, this is cool. Get all of this stuff out of the way right before E3. So that's how I kind of responded to this this Direct. Yeah.
I'm exactly on the same page as you because they announced like, Direct about Splatoon and ARMS, and I was like, okay, I know exactly. We all knew they're gonna announce the dates, probably a couple other things. The Link amiibos were a nice surprise for me. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I'm gonna get them because each of them is exclusive to a different store apparently.
Fuck that! I hate exclusive amiibo.
It's goddamn infuriating, but it's what it is. But yeah, I'm with you, Jared. It was just, getting some stuff out of the way, and hopefully they have some bigger announcements for E3.
So, the reason that you guys like this Direct, I actually I wouldn't say despise, but I was very upset with this Direct. I think this was their opportunity, like you said, Jared, for them to get the filler out of the way. And I think what happened was their filler just didn't impress me really whatsoever. To me, the highlight was actually the amiibo, which now that you mentioned them being exclusive, kind of takes some of the air out of that.
That's not like confirmed. That's just what I've heard some people say. Just
okay, cool, good to note that. But I actually really like those Link amiibo, like you mentioned.
They're cool.
Dom. Those were awesome.
That Majora's Mask one.
Really quick to interject, I think the ones that are exclusive to stores are the alternates of Cloud, Bayonetta, and I forgot what the third one was. The alternates to those, because you watched the Direct, right, Dom?
Yeah, that was like a separate group.
Yeah. What I'm saying is those three, the alternates of those are the ones that they specifically stated are going to be available at select retailers. They didn't say that during the link.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, I would say the amiibos, the Link amiibo specifically, because I think what I'm gonna do now is I don't want to get the amiibo collection with all the characters, but what I would like to do is get as many of the Zelda characters as I can.
That's where I'm at.
Because for one, they're actually pretty valuable for Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U. But mostly I just like them the best, and they're the coolest looking characters to me. So I'm thinking about actually doing that, and that works out for that.
So
as far as go ahead.
No, continue.
I was just gonna say, as far as the filler goes, I think it was just that their filler didn't impress me, and I was really hoping. We've got our April laid out on Switch. I've talked about how this filler stuff that they have right now is kind of just barely getting me by, but I'm downloading Mr. Shifty, and there's Puyo Tetris, and then Mario Kart coming up, so that should take care of April. What I'm worried about is May, June, July, and it just doesn't seem like they had anything to really interest me personally. And so, I knew that it was going to be ARMS and Splatoon mostly, and as far as that stuff, I totally got what I was expecting, the ARMS release date and the Splatoon delve into gameplay. But I just wished that, the filler had been stuff that I was more interested in, because like, especially like Payday, I feel like that game just keeps getting released over and over and over again. I know that it has a great big audience and people love that, but that's not a game to me that seems like it's going to get people excited for your console,
But
or
that's not
people
what this
that own
direct
your
was for,
console.
though.
No, I get that, but I just feel like you could have had filler that people actually want. Like
They're probably saving that for
if you-
E3.
No, I feel like that's a later filler. That's like later into the fall, because that's what I'm saying is May, June, July looks bare to me as far as games that I actually want to play, and that I think a lot of gamers will actually want to play, like compared to, PlayStation or Xbox. And so what they're going to be announcing at E3 to me feels like is going to be for, stuff later in the fall. So I feel like this was them saying, hey, here's what we've got until pretty much August. We might give you some stuff later on for that, but
Well, I mean, June and July do have a game. They both have a tentpole release, so it's like they don't need filler.
But when we're talking about filler, the filler is just not there for me, and so until we get to August, I just feel like we're pretty bare bones in between after April and then leading up to August.
So did you guys see what else they announced just today?
What was that?
They are canceling production of the NES Classic. So that
which I just now saw in my local GameStop, which is crazy.
I don't think I'm not surprised. It's people are freaking out over it. This is either to make it so they come back with an improved version in the fall, or there's an SNES version or something. It really doesn't concern me. The fact that the cord was so short too, maybe they're just discontinuing that model just because it wasn't really well made.
Speaking of that though, with like the kind of hardware stuff, that was another big disappointment of this direct. The dock being standalone $60, I just cannot see that being worth it at all. And the fact that it doesn't come with an AC adapter, you have to pay another $30 for that separately, making the total purchase for like a second setup in another room essentially $90. It's
That's
just bullshit
model.
To me.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
I'm not saying it's good.
But Apple, that's a whole different story, because you're talking about like Apple TV and stuff. This is like an actual
accessories.
console.
You have to buy. They don't have, like, the new iPhone doesn't have a headphone port. Like, you have to buy their specific headphones or have Bluetooth.
No, I know, and they have the adapter and that shit too. I'm just saying, like, for as far as game consoles go and shit like that, like, it's just obnoxious as hell. I think $90 is absolutely astronomical, and I think this goes in line with really all the other accessories for Nintendo Switch. They're just overpriced, and to me, they're just not worth the prices that they're selling. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to get them, but I'm not going to get, different colors and shit. And I'm just kind of going to get the bare bones stuff as far as controllers and stuff, because Nintendo official accessories, because they're just way overpriced in my opinion. And this is another example. And then you have like these Joy-Con attachments, the battery attachments, which everybody's like, the Joy-Cons are not the issue with the battery, right? Those always have battery. And then the yellow Joy-Cons, I'm like, I these colors are just not hitting with me, and I'm wanting to buy like a green or a purple or something like that, but it's just like that yellow is just so ugly to me, and I think the blue is a little bit little too poppy for me to be on my console. So I'm just waiting for better colors. And so they're just kind of fumbling these accessories.
Yeah. We're running a little long, so let's get into these other two news stories real quick. The second news story: Dark Souls publisher teases new game with tagline "Prepare to Dine." This is by Chloe Rad over IGN. Bandai Namco has released a teaser for a new project it's developing, which will be revealed on April 20th, a week from the day we're recording this. The unannounced game's tagline, "Prepare to Dine," is an obvious nod to Prepare to Die, made famous by From Software's Dark Souls, also published by Bandai Namco. The tagline isn't the only nod to From Software's legacy. The animated teaser's gothic style shares some similarities with Bloodborne. However, it leaves us with very little details regarding gameplay or story. The animation comes with the following statement from Bandai Namco's website. Enjoy this original animation inspired by a new title in development. So this isn't what the new game's going to look like. Due to be announced on April 20th, 2017. And she actually, Chloe Red, made I'm trying to find it here. She made a clarification in the comments. I don't think I can find it. Basically saying, like, this isn't necessarily a From Software game. We don't know that, right? Yeah, the teaser looks interesting. It gave me a lot of, like, gorillas, and the monster at the end reminded me of the side guy in Death Note. You know who I'm talking about? The guy that's, like, the demon or whatever he is. Sorry for all you anime fans. I'm not super familiar. I've seen, like, the first couple episodes of Death Note. That guy kind of looks like him. But it looks like it has a female protagonist. It looks interesting. This seems like a cool tease. We don't know what it is. But them using Prepare to Dine. Some people are speculating God Eater. But Jordan, you made a point before the show, like, if they're going to use that tagline, it has to be something, I think, a little bit more tangible to people in the West, right? And so, yeah. What do you guys, just really quick, don't have to go about it too long, what do you guys think this is going to be? For me, I think it's going to be a more indie-ish kind of game inspired by Bloodborne and Dark Souls.
That was the vibe I got too, Jared, was that this might be, I was thinking like 2D, because they kind of show a slight hint of like 2D, it's animated, so it's not necessarily gameplay, but I could see where that could be what it looks like, but who knows? It could be something completely different than the slight glimpse we just got, but I'm with you.
So, if I had to speculate, I would say it would probably be something Souls because they are using that tagline. But if I'm not mistaken, the recent Bayonetta countdown was just for the PC release. Is that right?
Yeah, it was for the PC release, the PC port, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess for Bayonetta fans, that's pretty big, but once again, that's not, it's not a new Bayonetta game or anything, and we talked about how these countdowns, they just never seem to amount to much, and this is not necessarily a countdown, because there's not like a ticking clock somewhere, but they are like saying, get ready for this date, and here's this little tease for it, and so I'm just, once again, kind of whatever on it, even though I'm a huge Bloodborne fan. I definitely don't think this is a Bloodborne 2 tease, but I would love that if I'm wrong.
Yeah, another thing to interject with real quick is maybe this is God Eater, and this is their way of introducing God Eater to the Western audience, of maybe it's a reboot of the series, right? And if you tie it so closely to Dark Souls, that gives people more of an in their mind, So
I think they just did that, though. I actually just got a couple God Eater games recently. I was looking into that, and it seems like they kind of just did what you're explaining within the last, I would say, like 2 or 3 years.
Okay. So the last story here, this is, I think, the biggest news story of the week. This comes by way of Waypoint. It looks like refunds are coming to Xbox One. The ability to get your money back on a digital purchase has been a long thing coming. Steam and Origin may have led the way with allowing customers to refund digital game purchases, but Microsoft looks to be following in their footsteps. Users on the Xbox subreddit report Microsoft's announced its policy as part of their Xbox Live preview program, presumably to be rolled out wider later. Any game may be refunded in the first 14 days with less than 2 hours played. The other thing I want to add here, we can talk about the refund thing real quick, but the other thing I want to add here is Phil Spencer on a blog post on the Xbox Wire basically came out and officially said, we're not going to have, well, he didn't say we're not going to have an event before E3, but he said Project Scorpio is going to be revealed at E3. So don't look for any event before then. But yeah, this refund thing is cool. I think this is a quote-unquote like leaked thing for E3. I think they're going to talk about this at E3, being able to refund your games, and then obviously Xbox Game Pass. I think this is cool. I think this obviously kind of warrants its own discussion once this is fully talked about by Microsoft, and it can be its own topic about refunds. But I think this is a really cool announcement. It kind of sucks for them, a little bit of wind out of their sails that this was kind of found out before E3. But I still think to the general audience who doesn't follow daily video game news, I think this will be huge at E3 for them. So, really cool. I think that's it for news. We're running a little long, so I don't want to get too much into that last story.